Hello and welcome. Andy here from Twisted Narrative, and welcome to yet another episode in our Times Undreamed Of campaign. We are now on episode 8. The title everybody has just seen, and it is obviously on the thumbnail. Our players do not know the title of this episode as yet, for they have not seen it. So, without further ado, we will do introductions and then we'll do a quick advert for our latest publication, and then we will rapidly delve into the next story arc for Times Undreamed Of. First, before we do introductions, I want to say poor Malcolm cannot be with us tonight. He is suffering with a migraine, so best wishes to you and speedy recovery. So, as always, Natasha, we'll start with you.
Hello everyone, my name is Natasha. I'm playing from the Netherlands. I've been playing loads of games with Andy over the last year and a half, including all sorts of different game systems, which I've never played before. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and especially Shadowdark.
Yeah, I have to say I'm addicted to Shadowdark. It's so light, so easy to run, and just it just opens up so many creative opportunities for role playing and for encounters to go in many different ways.
Including losing characters. Yay!
Yeah. I mean, I've never been. Um, I mean, perhaps I should leave this to another video, but I've never been the kind of GM that likes to kill players, and I've never been the kind of GM that likes random tables. But suddenly, um, the danger of a loss of character is exciting, and occasionally the loss of a character gives it gravitas to the game itself. And random tables have just inspired me to take storylines in such different directions, and the prep is incredibly easy. So I'm having a blast with it. Matt.
Hello, Matt, player and also collaborator with Andy and co-writer with Andy for some of the adventures that we have published.
All of them.
For all of the adventures that we have published.
Apart from the ones that you do, of course. Remnants.
This is, but yes. So, and getting used to finally Shadowdark and having a lot of fun writing for it and a lot of fun playing it and exploring the different worlds that it lets you kind of wander through and cause havoc within. So, yeah, no, it's good.
I'm having a blast too. And last but not least, a new face on Times Undreamed Of. Well, this live stream, but a veteran, I will say, playing in a private game of Times Undreamed Of. Well, Dave, introduce yourself.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Dave. I live in sunny Nottingham, and I've been playing Times Undreamed. In fact, I've played a parallel to this adventure where an alter ego is a huge hulking barbarian, but tonight I'm not.
No, and we will find out who you're playing in a minute.
Mm.
So I said we're going to do a quick plug for our latest publication. I'm just going to call this up now, and over to you, Matt. Tell us all about Dark Hole.
So, our latest publication is the second in our Junkers series of adventures, called Danger at Dark Hole. Now, the Junkers series is, whereas Times Undreamed Of is a very kind of Hyborian Age inspired, very much grim, gritty fantasy. The Junkers series is grim, gritty science fiction, and that's one of the joys with Shadowdark is it's to take although the world of kind of the core rules of Shadowdark is very much fantasy, it doesn't take a great deal to turn that into and play a sci-fi game within that, and that's what we've started to try and do with the Junkers series. So this is the second adventure. Our first adventure, Scratching the Surface, was kind of works as a prologue to both Shadowdark, if you've not played it before, but also the universe of Junkers, and then Danger at Dark Hole. This latest adventure is the next step, and as the universe, the setting starts to expand and become a bit more fleshed out, for want of a better term. And so this is your players are sent to investigate a strange loss of communication, and something strange has happened at a mine on the far side of a vast moon-sized alien ship. Nothing has been heard. Nobody knows what's going on. So your players are sent to investigate and find out what horrible things have happened.
Perfect. It's currently on Drive-Through RPG. Went up there at the weekend. I mean, I love it. I got to sort of run sort of all of those trope movies that I've grown up with: Alien, Aliens, Event Horizon, and Ghosts of Mars, etc., etc., etc. Easily convertible to any other systems, or just run it. You know, the Shadowdark quick start rules are free. Pick this up, and you've got at least an evening's worth of crazy sci-fi grim darkness. I believe, Dave, you played in it as well. Did you? Am I right in thinking that you played in the Dark Hole one as when you went to the mine and it got terrifying and you
Yeah.
all just fled in the end?
Everybody else fled.
Oh, right. Spoilers.
Someone had Oh,
Yeah, yeah. If you want to find out what happens to Dave's character, because I just forgot, well, Junker's Dark Hole video in there. And I wanted before, and this is a serious note, before we go into Times Undreamed, I'll just do a big shout out to Jay Shields as well, the artist of kind of our choice at the moment. His artwork is used in Dark Hole. His artwork is used on the cover of this video and in our Times Undreamed of supplements. We purchase his
I
artwork.
don't think there might be one possible publication where we haven't used his artwork, but his artwork is just, it kind of encapsulates everything we were looking for with the sci-fi setting and also with the fantasy stuff. So his stuff is fantastic. So if you're looking for anything you need artwork yourself, go and check him out. He's great.
Absolutely, and it just so much reminds me of that classic 2000 AD artwork that I fell in love with as a kid and still love now. Anyway, enough of that. We're here to play a game. 7 minutes. Probably no one's watching anymore, so let's get down to the really good stuff. Let us, for a moment, stop and delve into Times Undreamed of, into what has happened so far. So much to cover. Let it be said that you uncovered the den of the Red Masks. You found out a terrible curse and the loss of this Thieves Guild that united the entirety of the Wet 50 plus years ago, of what curse befelled it and how to lift that curse. No easy task to travel to the spires of delirium and, well, face down one of the greater threats of Ibihor, the city-state that you reside in. None other than the Tallow Man himself and the Karasiri, the fat vampire he held under his thrall. But this you did. The curse lifted, rewards gained. You caroused heavily last night, waking up in the bizarrest of places, finding yourself marked with tattoos that you cannot remember asking for, making friends of a canine variety. Hangovers in tow, you drag yourselves to the den to meet with Vegeta herself, to put a brave face, perhaps some of you wishing you had fell to the Tallow Man, for your hangovers are perhaps even worse than death itself. It is busy. The repairs to the den, the masons, the carpenters pounding their hammers does not help your mood or your heads. You make your way down and meet with a very busy Vegeta giving orders out. She turns and she smiles, and as deceptive as you wish to be, you both look like death. And she says, "My friends, you look like you have died and risen from the dead."
Like it.
Jasmine yawns and goes, "No, I bleeping did not. Also, meet my bleeping new friend. His name is Bleeping Mutt."
Ah, Mutt! The dog. Please describe it to us. What mangy creature does this look like?
It's medium sized. It's like an overall tan color, like standard street mutt. And apparently he found me lying in an alley and liked me so much he fell asleep on top of me until he started licking my face in the morning.
Well, you're lucky it didn't try to take a few bites out of you. It looks like it could do with a good meal or two.
I've been bleeping feeding him. He will turn out to be bleeping fine in just a bleeping few days.
I'm sure. I'm sure he will. Well, I mean, it seems a little rude of me to turn straight to business, but as you can tell, everything is happening here. The coin is being used, being put to good use. We are extending the den. We have big plans. And you, as my closest and most favoured friends, I need you to go out on the streets and speak with the gangs to petition them, to negotiate with them, to persuade them, to
Beat them into submission?
if need be, and in some cases perhaps that is the only course.
Bleeping my course.
Well, I'd say you got out of the wrong side of the bed today, but you are always like this, and from the sounds of it, you got out of no bed. So, the ones that we can persuade to join us, please, Jasmine, do not upset. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, because you asked bleeping nicely, okay.
I always ask nicely. I always ask nicely. I have a lead for you, so you are not randomly walking the streets of the wet, shouting out, "Anybody want to join the Red Masks?" Well, that is not how we really should appoint ourselves. An interesting one. We have already been reached out to. I mean, a matter of hours since reclaiming the den, the curse being lifted, already word is spreading across the wet of our victory. The sisters of Skulls have made an inquiry. They seek perhaps an accord, partnership, a peace, but they require something done. They require proof that we are not upstarts who are simply donning on our costumes and pretending to be Red Masks. They wish us to prove to them that we can get the job done. Whatever they are after, I do not believe it will be simple. So I have put out word and found someone you might find useful. Aaron, she shouts. Aaron, you are perhaps just finishing off some food.
I'm having a cup of tea.
having a cup of tea. So pleasant. As Vegeta calls across to you, Jasmine and Drago, you look in the direction of the one that shouts hello. Please describe, introduce us. What does Aaron look like?
Yeah. A chap probably around about 30 stands up. He's not tall. He's about 5'6", 5'5". Looks pretty weather beaten. He's wearing leather traveling boots and trousers. They look like they've seen some time in the outdoors. But he is wearing a rather baggy dark linen shirt, a sort of dark green colour with quite a lot of pockets on it. And there's a staff lying nearby him, leant up against a wall. He's got a red headscarf on, kind of a bit piratey, if you like. You know what I mean?
Very nice.
And he's quite sort of heavily tanned skin, very dark, chestnutty brown.
Perfect.
And a cup of tea.
And a cup of tea, as it
With a
seems.
saucer.
With the saucer. Okay. Certainly above his station, this is still the wet. It must be his own china.
Maybe he found it.
Maybe he found it. That's certainly a gear slot. I'm going to charge you for your cup and your saucer. Yeah.
That might be problematic.
We are playing Shadowdark after all. So Vegeta, who is a young woman, no weight upon her. She's wearing sort of a jerking and a shirt and trousers, relatively practical boots. She's dressed kind of for work, to give out instruction at the moment to all of these workers. But she brings you across to meet with the others, and she gestures for you to introduce yourselves.
I'm Drago, something of a priest of Ord, but not necessarily a very successful one, I'd say.
Jasmine snorts very loudly.
Yep. But it's pleased to meet you, Aaron.
Pleased to meet you. Or do you say? God, right, that's okay. I can deal with that.
They serve me well enough, I think, and hopefully I serve them well enough. I've not heard any negative impacts yet, so we'll see.
And Jasmine, is it? Delighted to meet you. Shakes
hands. Jasmine sort of looks down at you. She's quite tall, and goes.
Everybody looks down at me. I'm quite short.
I'm not sure it's a bleeping pleasure just yet. You don't know me.
Oh, we might find out. I understand there's a job to do.
So we hear.
So Vegeta says, I have little doubt whatever the sisters want, Aaron's certain skill set will be of use to you. Look after him.
Yes, please do.
So, if I might ask, Aaron, what is your certain skill set?
Oh, I have a little. I dabble in the arts, the magical arts.
I see, but not from a divine perspective. From a
no,
right,
definitely not.
Okay, interesting.
Right, well, so we are set. If you are not already aware, the leader of the sisters is an individual called Shali, Sister Shali. You know where their turf starts. They are expecting you. Please show them a degree of respect. She looks particularly at you, Jasmine.
Jasmine rolls her eyes again.
Uh,
How could you not bleeping trust me? You ask nicely.
I am sending you there. This is perhaps not too fine a point on it. A test to see whether you can stay that tongue of yours. It is useful at times, not so much at others. Drago.
Just to clarify, this approach is we are seeking to make peace or find an accord with the Sisters of Skulls. We're not seeking for them to join us, or I don't want to propose the wrong thing from the get-go.
What we need at the moment is the other gangs not to unite together against us, not to fear us. What we need is allies first. We need to slowly but surely go back to those old times where there is a peace amongst the gangs so we can all work united together, whether this is one under the banner of the Red Masks or as a collective council of sorts. I care not, but at the moment all I see everywhere is bad business. No one is profiting. So
work together for greater gain, or at least work in tandem for greater gain at the moment.
Indeed. But they wish us to prove ourselves to them. They have something in mind. Go listen. If you can do it, do it. If you can't, I will be disappointed. For you are the best I have, and if our best that I have cannot do it, we are broken before we even begin.
Do all we can, as we have done so far.
And that is all I can ask of you. So,
About halfway through your speech, Jasmine got bored and tries to learn Mud to sit and stand and roll over and play dead.
okay.
I'm such an interesting speaker.
Yes. Can you give me a wisdom check, please? Yeah, it's just
A 1.
yeah.
Not a natural 1, but yeah, a 1.
I dread to think what happens if you would roll a natural 1 against Mutt. What would happen to him? But no, he's not. He's wild. A bit like you, Jasmine. Perhaps a kindred soul, and just basically ignores everything that you say.
He just sits there waggling his tail, just looks up and goes like, why is this person talking to me?
I mean, because this is one of my games, he probably goes to a corner and lifts his leg and marks his territory.
Jasmine will definitely laugh her lungs out for that one.
Vegeta goes, well, I suppose, Jasmine, we found your corner of the den.
Yeah, your dog seems to have made himself rather at home.
It's his corner, not mine. He marked it, not me.
Well, I think it belongs to both of you now. And she smiles. Anyway, we all have work to be done. And she begins to move off, leaving you to introduce yourselves if you wish, to have any discussions amongst yourselves if you wish, or to be about your day and your business.
Yeah, it's pretty clear from what she's wearing and carrying that Jasmine is the fighter type, long sword, shield, and long bow and a quiver. So she'll be the muscle of the group. She's quite imposing too, like 6'2", orange hair, lanky.
And Drago is also like quite a broad frame, but because he's a half orc, but it kind of naturally hunches, and is for a half orc quite weedy and not particularly agile, and carries quarterstaff, which is more useful for keeping him upright most of the time. So yes, there's a half orc but squishy is the general appearance.
Aaron definitely doesn't look like he can handle himself in a fight. And it looks kind of thin and wiry, probably, just well-traveled, tough, kind of like he's been outside a lot. But that certainly doesn't look, it's no powerhouse. And all he's got with him is this basically a walking stick, and a bit of a staff. He's got an overcoat, which is also leather and battered and travelled. And he puts a little sort of round leather cap over the top of his scarf as he comes out. The scarf stays on all the time, and it's red.
Nice.
Perfect.
Well, looks like we know where to go. I think
You know the turf of the sisters, easy enough to get to.
I know them. I know this. I know. I can.
Great. Well, it sounds like we're expected and awaited even. So I suppose we should head our way, and see what this job entails.
Okay. So you begin to make your way through the wet towards the turf of the sisters, and a scene unfolds in front of you. But what is that scene going to be? I think our new player should roll a d20.
I'll mess this up now.
Oh no, there's no good or bad. This is just something that you see as you're moving through a one. You kind of see that a gang leader, actually one of the leaders of one of the gangs, has been cornered by a rival gang and is being hustled and bustled at the moment. It's not actually turned to violence as yet. Now this could be really interesting because this could literally be, and we're doing random tables from our supplement that has the incredibly long name that should not be mentioned ever again, but you can find it on drive-through. So the gang leader, let's see who that is. Roll a d20. This time we move to Drago. Give us a roll. And this is what I was saying about random tables. It really fleshes this out. So 16. So the gang leader is actually Day Hui, the gang leader of the Brotherhood of Blood. What they tend to do is soak their clothes, whether it is their hats or their scarves, in the blood of their conquests. But who is the gang that is cornering this gang leader? Natasha, you give me a d20 roll. 10. It is the Warped Whispers. They use fear as a weapon. Perhaps this is the reason why they have not struck us yet. They are perhaps intimidating, whispering, moving around Dehu, trying to scare him like wraths in the night. You see this. The streets are bustling. This is going off down an alleyway somewhere. You can intervene if you wish, or you can just go about your business.
Jasmine turns to Drago and says, which of these two bleeping gangs do you think Vegeta would like to be friendly with?
Thinking the same thing. Not knowing much about this place, would I have any inkling, or would either of us have or any of the three of us have an inkling as to, of these two gangs, the Brotherhood of Blood and Warped Whispers, which would align with what we know of Vegeta?
You know as much as I've told you, as much as that is written. The Brotherhood of Blood, brutal, soaking their clothing, their raiments in the blood of their fallen, and the other ones operating using intimidation and fear, that if you cross them, they will come for you in the night, and there is nothing you can do about it. So, I mean, there is the third option, which is to separate them, to broker peace between the two.
There's an argument they're best left to kill each other off.
True, but if the overall aim here is to make peace and organize things a little better,
We would be
then
viewed as bleeping weak is if we allow a turf war in our turf.
perhaps the thing to do is try and break it up, if nothing else, and suggest this isn't the place or the time.
As soon as you say that, Jasmine will start striding forward, getting her shield out, getting her longsword out, and just tap lightly on the shoulder of the last guy in the line of the whispering guys.
Okay.
Bleeping, excuse me, what are you bleeping doing?
One of them sort of looks up to you. None of you. You're big. You're big. Do you know how much blood?
Bleeping, thank you. No one has bleeping told me ever bleeping before.
Do you know how much blood would come out of your body if I was to cut it in the right place?
At that point, I'm hiding behind Jasmine, and I just look around her like that and raise my eyebrows.
This is none of your business.
Jasmine sort of bleeping look down, and her sword is like really, really close to his crotch area. Like really, really close.
The others kind of look. Do you not know who we are?
I don't bleeping care. There's no bleeping fighting in the bleeping turf of the Red Masks.
The Red Masks. They died out 50 years ago. 50
You're bleeping
years.
back now.
What, the three of you?
More than 3, my friends.
Bleeping heard of the death of the bleeping Tallow-man?
There is a serious look upon their faces. And with that, I want... Who's got the highest charisma?
Not me.
I'm a 14 or a +2,
Plus
whichever
2.
way you want to look at it.
Okay.
Mine's 11. So
Yeah. So can Drago, can you roll 2d6, please?
I got a mighty 6 in charisma.
I could never have guessed it through your skillful role playing.
Right, 2d6.
Oh dear. With your +2, they are not happy with it. Well, I know nothing of the Red Mask claiming this area. This is neutral area. It is all new to us. But if that is the way, we will carry your word to Thormer, our gang leader, and we will say how you interrupted us in our business. And with that, they go off. But you see as they begin to leave, they might well be back with more, seeking out any red masks they can find. And
Who was the person they were
Yeah.
rolling? Who
Daihu,
was
Daihu is there and kind of looks at them. That's right, you off. I had everything in hand, but it would be impolite of me to say or not say thank you.
We didn't think you were unable. It was just an unfair fight. And
for them, a 3-1, they would not have attacked me. It's not what they do. They are cowards. They will slide the blade into your back when you are not watching. That is them. They will wait till you are unaware, to the point that you are perhaps terrified, that your heart is pounding, so the blood will spurt from your bodies faster. You have made some enemies there.
I look down at Mutt and go, "You hear that, Mutt? Be sure you guard us against these evil whisperer guys."
But I will not forget what you have done and the words that you have said. Red masks, eh? Well, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see. Maybe we will meet again if you are still alive.
perhaps all I would say is that there are red masks once more, and I think a dream and a hope to return to the profitable days that once were, and a sense of working together, or at least not necessarily working against each other where we can, for everybody's betterment and everybody's profit, I think, is the main aim.
Well, those are good words, I think, and I will give you this as thanks for your intervention. I will say the Brotherhood of Blood will respect your territory as long as it does not encroach upon ours. And perhaps me and which one of you is the leader?
I definitely hide behind Jasmine at that point.
What bleeping leader? I'm not a leader.
The principal of the Red Masks is not among us, but we can get word to them if
I'll
you would
say
like us to.
that yes, I would favour a meeting so we can discuss terms.
And I think that's the first step that they are seeking, and I'm grateful.
I guess we could tell him the, just out of character, I guess we could tell him the contact, like tavern where we did the previous meeting. I think that would be the above ground contact area still for the Red Masks. I mean, you don't send them down to your secret den to have a chat.
Yeah. I guess there's probably an established place to leave word for the Red Masks or something, which we would pass on, and
it's fine. An accord has been made. He's already said that he's going to respect your turf as long as it doesn't impact his, and he's open to a meeting to discuss terms. A good encounter, really. Although sleep lightly as the warped whispers. Well, you've made an enemy as well as a friend here. Okay. He nods and heads off. You carry on with your journeys. It doesn't take you particularly long, and you begin to enter the turf of the sisters, and you see that you are watched. Its streets are still sort of bustling with ne'er-do-wells. There is entertainments in the street, people begging, people vending food and trinkets. It is the wet after all. But you can tell people watching you are the sisters. These are all female in gangs of 2 or 3. The majority of them, their hair shaven, bald pates. They are wearing makeshift armours, but they have a motif of tabards and loincloths of black cloth. The colour of metal they wear tends to be silver, and of course what truly marks them as sisters is the skulls that they carry upon them, tied to their belt, knotted with thongs of leather.
Jasmine waves at them when she sees them.
They kind of nod to you. It is as if you are expected. You know that they're only allowed to carry the skulls of those that they have killed themselves. It is a measure of the strength and ability of each of the sisters. Yes, Aaron?
Are there some of them who've got many skulls, or is it just like one token skull at each?
No,
Some got multiple skulls.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a sign of, those that are starting out as a sister and those that have been with the sisterhood for a number of years. The skulls are bleached, white bone. Sometimes they have been painted upon to highlight various markings and features upon the skull. And as you move through these crowded streets, you see a couple of sisters that are in the process of boiling some more recent heads. There are 3 or 4 of them that are being put into this cauldron of sorts to make sure that the flesh is boiled off. The smell is unpleasant.
As Jasmine comes near, she goes, better not cook them too long, they'll go soft.
You think that we do not know our trade?
Just a bleeping advice, nothing meant by it.
All right. Well, you are the one with the mouth, yes?
How did you bleeping guess?
Well, she waits for you, and they indicate what appears to be the den of the sisters. This is a large building. It is marked with graffiti, and drapes of black painted upon these drapes is unsurprisingly an icon of a skull. If you all imagine those classic Punisher pictures of the skull with the sort of lung jaw, very much like that, in kind of white paint, but from an angle as the sun sort of scours down upon it. It almost has a silver shine. She waits for you.
Well, then, if she's waiting for us to follow, then
Well, no,
follow.
the 2 boiling the heads say she's waiting for you.
Then we will not keep her waiting longer.
You make your way through, and there's a couple of sisters sort of sitting down playing dice outside. One of them has 3 skulls, the other one has 5. And they kind of look at you, and they pick up the dice and their few coins and follow you in. You enter this dark place. All of the windows have been sort of blocked off. Black drapes everywhere, and it has more of a feel of some kind of temple to a dark god than a hall. There are flickering torches, spitting black smoke coming off them. And at the far end, you see sitting on, well, a literal throne of skulls, Shally, an imposing figure, tall, lithe, wearing these black robes, some silver or perhaps even mithril chain underneath. Upon her head, she has a partial mask, that of a skull, covering her forehead, her eyes, her nose, only revealing her mouth. Her skin is pale, although she is powerful in frame and build. She says, it is the masks, red masks.
It is.
Yeah.
And you are the best this Vegeta has to send to me. A three-headed dog that looks half dead.
We are here to do as you need.
Am I?
Vegeta told us to bleeping help you if you bleeping ask for help.
I am not sure whether she is trying to insult me here. You do not even bear any skulls upon you.
We don't carry the marks, the physical tokens. We have enough in
Then
memory.
tell me of your deeds.
That tallow man burned to a crisp.
He is no more, tumbled from his own tower thanks to our efforts.
I had heard whispers, and you claim to do that, a wild claim. But I have heard. I am not sure that I would be that brave to go around claiming it. But you do, and I will not call you liars in my hall. A great deed, a dangerous deed, a powerful enemy.
He
I mean,
was.
no insult by this. Through skill or luck did you achieve this?
A heady mixture of the two. Fate was on our side, but our skill allowed us to make the best use of it.
I sense honesty in your words. Good.
We found his bleeping weakness and ended him.
Right, well, we will see. We have made approaches to the Red Masks. We had heard these whispers. We had heard the fall of the tower, the Tallow Man. And if the Red Masks rises again, we would encourage cooperation.
That's
But
good.
it is good. It was my idea. I do not have bad thoughts. So, if you are what you say you are, we need proof. We wish you to prove yourselves as agents of the Red Masks that you have power. You can get things done. You are worthy of our attention, of our allegiance.
What is it you need doing?
There is something. There is a skull that has been missed. A skull that I desire. A relic. It is the skull of Saint Lorick. I wish you to seek this out and to bring it to me. I can even help with its location if you need it.
If you have the information, then
That would make it
based
bleeping
on-
easy.
She smiles when you say that. Of course, I am here to help. It can be found in the Boneyard. That is a familiar place with you all. That is a place that you are all familiar with. The Boneyard is the carnal pit of Ibihor. A carnal pit of unbelievable size. It is often said that one of the sayings of Ibihor is, when life is so cheap, the real expense is in burying the corpses, so why bother? And on the edge of Ibihor is this massive, pile of corpses and bones. Hundreds of thousands that have died over the centuries and dumped there.
Okay, so not bleeping easy then.
Well, as the saying goes, a needle in a haystack. But bring me this skull, and I will know. Do not bring me any skull. And then...
How will you know? How will you know this skull is the skull you desire?
I will speak with it, and it will tell me its secrets. You think we carry skulls just as decoration? No. The skulls give us power. Each of our enemies felled. Their power is then ours. You look, she points at the one with 5 skulls. You do not fight one, you fight 6 there.
Interesting.
So, slayers of the Tallow Man, go. Find me the skull, return it to me, and we will have an alliance.
As Jasmine walks out, she tells the other two, I really bleeping should have cut the bleeping Tallow Man's bleeping head off.
I love it.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, Jasmine. Right then.
I would like to remind you at the start of the session you all had 1 luck point, and no, you cannot use that luck point to find the skull of Saint Lorick. Hopefully it will help you along the way though. The location, the Boneyard, you're all familiar with. It is. There are private, smaller cemeteries. There is consecrated grounds. And then the bodies, the bones of the masses are carted to the walls of the Boneyard and just tipped in. It is a unbelievable area of white. You have chance to discuss this amongst yourselves. You can ask me questions or...
Jasmine will ask Draco a question. What do you bleeping know about bleeping Saint Lorick?
Drago was about to ask himself the same question.
And I was going to ask you that too. You're the priest. You know all about these things. You probably know where it is. I'm sure
And,
you do.
deity of secrets and all that. Yeah. How does one go about? Yeah.
So there will be your personal knowledge,
Hmm.
which you might or might not know something. And then obviously you can, if you wish to, try and uncover information as such.
I think I'd rack brain for personal knowledge first, and then if that fails, then would go in search of info.
Perfect. So this is down to you. I'd happily accept intelligence or wisdom.
I mean, the modifier is the same, but my spellcasting and priestly stuff is kind of under wisdom, so that feels like the logical place for a saint being possibly a saint of somebody or other, or connected to somebody or other. So yeah, it feels like it's a wisdom roll is the right roll to make.
Okay. So feel free to go and roll that, please.
So it's a d20 plus 2. So, excellent. I rolled a 2 with my plus 2. That's a 4. Drago starting in his normal fashion. Good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still
I've
convinced.
seen your dice rolls.
Yeah.
I've watched these videos. I've seen that.
I'm convinced that you're not a priest, basically. I think you're pulling the wool over the gem's eyes, and there's going to be an encounter where you go, right, I'm going to backstab. I go, you can't, you're a priest. He said, no, all along I have been
A fighter.
a thief. No, it sounds harsh. You do have a luck point, should you wish to want to use it to re-roll that. Other than
No,
that,
I think
Jasmine looks down at Mutt and goes, maybe you bleeping know something about bleeping St. Lorik.
it barks. And you kind of get the
Boy,
impression.
that's a treat.
Andy, but given Aaron's background as an acolyte,
Yeah. I yeah, I mean, I have.
I know which god, and it doesn't sound like one that would have a saint. That St. Lorik doesn't sound like anything to do with Shun the Vile. But anyway,
Well, maybe it was an enemy, so
yeah, so I might know.
I love the
Can I see
way
if I can remember anything.
that you are, you know, you're just going by a name that this individual can't be bad. I mean, Saint is perhaps one thing, but Lorik,
Well, I thought the saint thing didn't sound. Yeah, I don't think like dark, dreadful gods have saints. I think they probably have some other title. I don't know.
about St. Kevin, the Black Slaughterer of the Unknown Isles.
we will see. I want you to firstly, one presumes you want to do intelligence, which is
Yeah, I think that's not wisdom.
you can choose. I mean, you are an intellectual. You also are a mage, so you a book person. You would have studied books.
I'm going to roll on my intelligence. Has that rolled? Oh,
it has.
Has?
There you go.
It was definitely better than me.
Sorry, what is that total? I can't.
well,
12.
12. That is
Yeah,
good.
12 total.
That is good enough, and this is why I was saying I love random tables. I'm going to show you behind the character sheet now, behind the screen, and I have no idea who Saint Lorik is. It is the skull that needs to be returned. So we're going to together work out who Saint Lorik is now. So I would like you to roll a d8, please, Dave. And this is going to be canon when me and Matt write this up. So it's good. I mean, that could have been any of the deities, but this is a saint of Saint Terragnis. Terraragnis.
I'm slightly disappointed we didn't get Sheen the Vile now.
Yeah, well, you rolled the 1. It's all your fault.
Can I use
Uh,
Love
I mean,
Loyalty? Can I
The
use
real
Love
irony
Loyalty?
would
Yeah.
have been getting awed, and it is the saint of my deity, and I didn't know.
I would love you to use your luck roll
Hmm.
to re-roll that dice if you want to.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to need that luck point.
Okay, and
Really need.
Drago, or rather Matt, because we're going behind the veil. I would like a D12 roll to see what ancestry he was. 9, halfling. So this halfling Saint Loric, that worshipped this lawful deity. And I would like you, Natasha, to roll a D4 to uncover what class they were. Is that a 3?
3. That's a 3. Yeah.
Bizarrely, this saint was actually a thief. So we're kind of telling a tale here. This halfling thief called Saint Loric supposedly worshipped Saint Terrigenis. I mean, maybe he was just pretending to be a saint. Maybe he was a halfling.
Maybe his bleeping first name was Saint.
Yes.
Maybe,
maybe
maybe he repented.
Yeah.
Of his poor ways.
So
and lived a life of purity and chastity.
I like that. And as you were the one that rolled to uncover who he was, we now know this skull. We now know that yes, he was perhaps a halfling thief, but he did repent, and that is why he became a saint, following the tenets of Saint Terragnis.
Teragnis?
Yeah, I think that is perhaps and now we have that. And I just love it. It's beautiful because it was inconsequential what the skull was, but now we've created a huge backstory that you actually know and hopefully will remember because you all helped create it. The screen goes back up. You cannot read me. So,
Okay.
Aaron, please, back in the room, you describe to your companions what you know about this individual.
I know a little of these things. I'm no great studier, but of saints and such. But I believe that this Loric chap, it's Loric, isn't it? Yes, Loric. He was a great thief, a terrible scourge of Ibhaior, and he was robbing a convent. He was robbing a convent of Saint Teragnis. And what he didn't know was there was lots of pitiful children inside, and he took great pity on them and chose not to rob them. And they were all and realized that what he was doing was awful. So he repented of his sins and dedicated the rest of his life to serving the poor and downtrodden of Ibhaior.
How did that bleeping help us find his bleeping skull in the boneyard?
Well, maybe he's
yeah, we look for tomb. We look for symbology of St. Teragnis.
Yeah.
It might give us a lead on where to start in the boneyards, if nothing else.
You're also aware now that you're looking for a halfling skull rather than a human
They're
skull.
smaller, so that's only half a gear slot.
Those sisters, they're not going to be able to carry anything. So they just loaded up with skulls.
Yeah, no, that's it. Okay, so off the top of your heads, we now know who Saint Loric is, or rather was. What would you like to do now?
is there within this this area, this boneyard?
Mm-hmm.
So there were.
So you are
there like areas controlled by do followers of Saint Agnes, do they have their bones? It sounds like they'd have their bones interred somewhere more formal than if they've got the money.
You would certainly expect so. Now, just to clarify, the Boneyard isn't a graveyard, isn't full of crypts, and it's not a necropolis, a city of the dead. It is a dumping place for the bodies, the many, many hundreds, thousands of bodies of individuals that cannot afford burials, all of the indiscriminate murders, they just want to dispose of bodies. It is literally a dumping ground for the dead. There are other graveyards and there are elsewhere places to intern the dead, sanctified grounds and the like. Now it is strange with what we know about Saint Loric. You wouldn't expect his body to be just dumped into the boneyard. Something else must have happened, something that the sisters perhaps are aware of, because they believe his skull has found his way to the boneyard. So
when did he bleeping die? So we know which bleeping layer in the boneyard to bleeping excavate.
Well, there is a degree of mystery here.
I can buy you a shovel.
Mm-hmm. You are aware of a number of things about the boneyard itself. Leading up to the boneyard, there are some priests that take it upon themselves to sort of give mass last rites. They just wander around, and when carts of bodies turn up, they will say a few prayers. There are also rather nasty types called the Reapers, which of course when the bodies are dumped, no one is claiming them, and the Reapers snatch body organs for alchemists, necromancers and worse. So there is a degree of activity leading up to the boneyard. There are, of course, churches to the very gods as well, and maybe a priest of Saint Terraganis could give you some lore about what has happened. So you have a number of opportunities, or you can just jump into this boneyard and begin to examine bone by bone by bone.
I feel like the approach we take, or the first thing is, if we find a church or any kind of altar or shrine to Saint Agnes, that's the place to start. And ask a question
so.
of whoever's keeping that place if they know anything. Whether we try and just convince them from the goodness of their heart, or whether I try and suggest it's something I'm interested in from my role.
Yeah, bring it closer.
Aaron picks up a random small skull.
Brilliant.
Alas, poor Loric. I wouldn't know him from Adam. Throw it over my shoulder.
I mean, I wonder why I chose the name Loric. Maybe perhaps it does suit itself to that pun.
Sometimes it pays to have small prints of skulls kicking around in Europe.
Yeah, I think Dave is literally saying like they are prints of skulls rather than skulls.
It's not a real one.
Yeah.
we believe you.
It's actually a print of a Roman one for us, Palamine as an archaeologist. So
Very nice. Nice prop to have. So you seek one of these churches. Not difficult to find. The lawless nature of the wet is perhaps not the place, but you can travel to certainly the flesh pits, the bazaar, or even the spires of delirium, and there you find a church. You enter, and what do we know about Saint Teregnis? Let's just have a quick look at what our very nice Shadowdark rule set says. I can never find this. Here we go.
she was a legendary knight, because I have it open.
Yeah.
If you want, a legendary knight who is the patron of most lawful humans, ascended to godhood long ago, and is the embodiment of righteousness and justice. Perfect.
So it's quite difficult, obviously, to find a church to Saint Teregnis here in Ibihor, but of course it's such a vast place. There is one. Fairly run down, but certainly the priests here are doing their very best. You can see that the church comes under a degree of abuse on a daily basis. Few people worship here. But you can see one of the priests kind of washing off some graffiti from the wall. No doubt some carousers drank too heavy in their cups and defaced this building during the night. She's a fairly large sort of woman at the moment, just got a sort of top sort of on, wearing trousers, sleeves rolled up, her hair tied back as she has this brush scrubbing away at the mark on the wall. She hasn't noticed you at the moment as you begin to approach.
I would sort of gesture to the other two. Let me try one priest to another first, and if that doesn't work, we'll work something else out.
Jasmine taps her sword. Sure.
I maybe.
So I would then sort of approach. Excuse me.
She turns round rapidly, and as she does, one hand with the scrubbing brush, she draws a blade, a dagger. What do you want?
And I would kind of, prior to approaching, would have made sure that my holy symbol was sort of obviously in view, and hands very much up, and not trying to look threatening in any way, shape, or form.
Where did you steal that? She indicating your holy symbol.
I earned it, as you earned yours.
Then tell me the tenets of Ord.
You then say, Matt, I tell her the tenets of Ord.
This is a knowledge you don't need to roll for. If you are really a priest, this is the gem checking now. I've got you.
Yes, I am a priest, and I am a priest of Ord, so I would know those tenets.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can
so
you improvise them if I need to.
Do you rattle them off?
I do.
As you rattle them off, you can hear me mumbling the same.
Oh, interesting. She almost instantly relaxes somewhat. She flips the dagger around and puts it back into the scabbard. Sorry.
You have had trouble, I understand, and I'm sorry.
Bastards, all of them. I tell you what, if it wasn't for my duties, I would let this place go to the hells.
I sometimes think it might be worth it.
Nah, she chucks the scrubby bush into the bucket and it sort of splashes. Well, how can I help you?
Just a question. I have been sent, and kind of hold my symbol, on a strange path, following strange rumors and words, and I wish to ask someone who might have clearer knowledge. There is a saint of your order, or at least was aligned to your the one you serve,
Hmm.
St. Loric, and I'd heard rumors and have reason to believe that there may be traces of them here in Iowa, and I'm seeking somewhere to begin and any clues that might help us find or help me find knowledge of them and if possible their remains. It's something that I've been sent to seek.
Well, you're after his remains.
The location of it is, and again, kind of touching symbol in what I'm trying to imply without actually saying it is that this is I've been sent on this task by a higher purpose.
Okay.
You fib.
Can you roll
Not lying.
2d6, please, again?
Ham.
Get your luck points out.
Mm.
Feel like I might need them this time.
Very
No.
nice. Very nice.
Do you want anything adding to that, or is it
Yeah,
just that roll?
it's going to be your charisma, but I've
So
also
it's a +2.
perfect. So that's a very good, and this is a kind of social how friendly they are towards you. I also modified the DC a little bit because you've already advertised yourself as a priest and everything else, but that is more or less the best you could get. So she relaxes again and says, well, yes, Saint Loric is, well, one of our most famous saints of Ibihor at the very least. It was here that a most terrible rogue ne'er-do-well, scandalous, he was, well, a terrible person, stealing from the church and much worse. That it came a day that he was going to steal from an orphanage and a nunnery, and he saw it was an orphanage, and well, it shows that people can be redeemed, and like I said to you, as much as I wish to leave here, it is perhaps Saint Loric above them all shows that all of these terrible, terrible people have a chance to be like Saint Loric. And I am
Amen.
amen indeed. And it is fortuitous that you have sought me out. Perhaps one of the only houses of Saint Teragadis here, for his crypt is well in our cellars, in our crypts, which are below the church. Would you wish to see?
Oh, bleeping, definitely.
Yes, if that would be okay.
Well, after all, you rolled very well on your social encounter, so I have little choice, she says. Yes, of course. I mean, Matt Mercer doesn't speak like that. I don't know why. Breaking the fourth wall. Deadpool does it. Everybody loves breaking the fourth wall, don't they? So you are guided into the church, and you get the impression she genuinely believes what you are doing. You've brought her in and she is acting in a very friendly, lookful way to you. She takes you in. She produces a large iron key, opens up the door, and there is a terrible smell that sort of comes from below. It's a musty smell of death. But at this point, I would like all of you to make wisdom rolls as well.
Oh dear.
DC is 13 on this, so we will see.
Nope. 6.
Oof. Natural 1 for a 3.
Oh, that is good. That is a 19. Unless you've got -6, well, -7, you will have succeeded.
Oh, it's just a straight roll.
Oh, there's a 19 on the dice. Someone's rolled a 19. Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was
so,
Aaron, yeah.
So yeah, so you're fine. So Aaron, you pick it up, and again, you can weave this into your backstory if you want, as well as the smell of death, of kind of rot, and the sort of bones that you would have in a crypt. There's also a sickening smell, kind of bilious, that is very faint, that you just pick up. It's not strong enough to even make you feel nauseous, but it's kind of that little bit of bitter sour in the back of your throat that feels that you taste when you yourself sort of vomit, but it's in your nostrils instead.
Well, someone's been sick in here.
No, it's just that smell of bilious.
Yeah.
It's very unpleasant, and it's not a smell that is directly associated with crypts, and it's very faint as the door is opened.
Does Mutt smell it or smell something unusual?
But is an ally. Do a d20 roll for Mutt.
He's just got straight up 10 in his stats, or
No, just roll it. That is going to be good. Yeah, Mutt. He reacts actually somewhat worse than Aaron in the fact that you see his hackles raise, and rather than barking, you see he sort of backs away. There's a degree of fear that washes over Mutt, and Mutt does not like it down there.
Aaron's kind of sniffing and looking around to see, trying to identify the source of. How to say it? It's just, do you smell that?
It's definitely coming from down the stairs, Aaron, with
There's
your
something.
roll. See if the priest herself can determine whether she can smell it. It'll be she's got +3 to this, as it is a wisdom roll, and she pointed out to her with the dog, with Mutt backing up and you picking up. She smells it as well. That is not right. I have smelt this once before. She moves forward away from the door, and she picks up what appears to be a holy symbol of Saint Ghouls, she says.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
It is the stench of ghouls or ghasts.
Jasmine gets her shield and her long sword out and gives Mutt a treat and tells Mutt to stay behind the rest of us.
Mutt isn't going down there. As much as Mutt likes you, it is no intention of going down there whatsoever.
In that case, she will say to him, like, stay, we'll come back.
How dark is it down there?
It's pitch black. They don't have any lights down there. This is just a crypt. She says the last person we interned down there was maybe 5 years ago. A few worshippers of the good saint.
Why don't we see what's gone wrong, and I will try and cast light on my staff. I say try and cast because of who I am as a priest.
Okay.
Jasmine gets ready to hand the torch over to Drago.
I need an 11. Here we go.
Oh, rock and roll.
Hey!
I mean, that was an important role. He did not want to fail in front of this other priest.
It would have been
embarrassing. Awkward, I think, is the word.
So just the end of my staff, and so very much Gandalf in Moria kind of.
Beautiful. Light cascades down, and it's a very rickety set of wooden stairs that sort of winds down against the wall and down into the darkness. Your light shining down there. She has holy symbol raised.
Who's going first?
Jasmine.
I'm not. Definitely not. Right, okay. But what I'm doing is we're going down the stairs.
Yeah, I think
I'm just carefully unbuttoning my shirt. All right.
Okay.
And opening it slightly. Just to do, and it opens. And if anyone sees that, he's covered in tattoos.
Oh, interesting.
All over his body. So they're definitely not nice tattoos. They're all arcane stuff.
Cool.
And he starts to work a trace of a finger around a pattern on his chest and mumbles something, and then reaches out and touches Jasmine.
Oh, are you casting a spell?
I am going to try and cast a spell, yes. I'm probably going to roll like a 1 or something then.
I hope you have your miscast table ready.
The best casters get it wrong all of the time.
I'm going to try and cast Protection from Evil on Jasmine.
Oh, very nice.
Because I think ghouls are probably evil and chaotic.
So tier 1 spell.
Yeah.
So DC is 11, 10 plus the tier of the spell.
And I've got my intelligence modifier on that, haven't I?
You do indeed. Very nice. You've got a 12. Your camera has frozen though, Dave, which is just perfect. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's okay then. It'll probably kick back in a minute. Otherwise, we have a still of you at the moment. But 12 is a success.
Yeah, it's a 15 actually with this modifier.
Yeah.
That is even better. I mean, the 12 is a success. So it matters not that he did better. What it matters is that he did not fail. And in this moment, can you describe to Jasmine what happens as the power sort of flows from you to
indeed, yes. You feel a warm feeling as touch you on the shoulder, and it kind of emanates, and you feel strong, powerful. You feel really good. Gives you a bit of a buzz, almost a bit jittery and giggly.
She puts her sword against the wall and basically grabs your neck with her hand and pulls you close to her and says, "Don't bleeping do that to me, bleeping unannounced ever, bleeping again."
I'll tell you.
And then she puts you back down again because she actually lifted your feet off on the floor.
I look a bit sheepish.
Okay.
I just mutter quietly, Consent is important.
I would also like to know mechanically what benefit that gives, Jasmine.
It's for the spell's duration, which is focus, not my focus, I guess.
Yeah.
Chaotic beings have disadvantage on attack rolls and hostile spellcasting checks against the target. These beings also can't possess, compel, or beguile it.
Nice.
So if they've got any of those kind of powers.
Yep.
So does it say that the target of the spell has to be good or neutral?
No.
Okay, good thing.
There is no good in Shadowdark. There is only law, chaos and neutral. So, I think
because the spell is specifically directed against chaotic creatures.
I did wonder about that, but it doesn't actually say.
It won't work on chaotic creatures.
Perception. It creates a barrier around you. Or...
Yeah.
A ready break glow.
Yeah.
For those of us who are of a certain age.
As the priest of Saint Terangis says, there is hope for everyone, even you, Jasmine, as you are blessed with this protection.
Jasmine snorts and says, "Stay out of my bleeping head, you bleeping witch." And then she starts walking, and she picks up a sword and starts walking down the stairs, carefully just trying out, because it's rickety and wooden, carefully trying out every step.
Wow, it's a good job she's lawful.
Jasmine definitely is not lawful.
No, I'm talking about the priest.
Drago follows Jasmine so that she's definitely got light, but passing the priest or kind of as close to the priest just kind of goes, "I'm sorry."
So, can you guess what I'm going to need now? I would like initiative rolls, please. As you creep down into this crypt, and it's certainly the length, if not bigger than the church itself, as there are many sort of standing alcoves. So we'll start off with Jasmine. What did you get?
A 10.
Drago, what did you get?
13. My modifier at -4.
Aaron, what did you get?
I'm going to have to roll you a d20 because I seem to have. Oh, hang on.
Oh, you're still in the app.
I'm still there. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It had just collapsed.
Oh,
you fighter! I actually didn't want to do that.
That's okay.
So I better look point to re-roll it. Now, go on.
You can choose just not to act rather than re-roll it.
I hide really fast.
Yeah. So is there any modifier to that, or was it just straight 20?
No, that's straight.
Lovely. So we have a couple of other. Well, we have the NPC first. The priest. None of you have even bothered to ask her name. She is on fire.
Would have done that, but I didn't. That was stupid of me.
As you go past, you sort of go, by the way, I'm Drago, and
also Drago, you are.
She looks at you and tells you that her name is
the witch.
You are
Turn around.
Terrible. I love it. I love the fact you are playing your charisma score of 6. It's painful, but a delight to watch at the same time.
Drago wasn't supposed to be a serial apologist, but I think since meeting Jasmine, it's just that's the way it's going.
Yeah. She introduces herself as Panatia.
Yeah.
That is Panatea. Of
Like
course.
panacea, but with a T.
Yes.
Yes, even more like Panatea. Perfect. She's going on 18s, but there are two other things down here that are also going at some point. You don't know what these are. The first one is going on. Ooh.
Second to last.
A 12. And the other one is going on. It's exciting. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, another 12. So they're both going on the same thing. Unfortunately, before Jasmine. So, Aaron, on a 20, you get to do something.
I think that there are two ghouls there.
You don't know, there's no line of sight on anything, but you have sensed, and she has identified the smell is associated with ghouls. So
there's two figures down there. Can
you can't see.
No, we can't
I
see
can't
anything
see
at all.
them.
You can't see
Sorry.
anything. You can smell something, and as you descend down the stairs, the smell gets stronger. This crypt there's alcoves everywhere, and there's kind of walls that come in with recesses. It's a whole maze of bones interned into the walls. The light cast by Drago is highlighting skulls that seem to stare at you, and the whole place is dusty with bone dust and rot.
Oh, this just reminds me of my childhood. Which is to say, I'm not very happy down here. It's not the sort of thing I like. But it does very much remind me of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of being, like I say, I'm being a bit sheepish, hanging back a little bit, obviously.
That's okay. You can sort of pass your turn.
I'm going to pass my turn, I think, yeah, and just wait and watch.
Okay.
And get ready.
So, huffing at you, Jasmine, Panatea draws her dagger, holy symbol in the other hand, and pushes past you down the stairs onto the flagstone. She sniffs the air and moves towards the edge of the light source, alert looking, but moves no closer. Then we move to Drago on a 13.
Okay. I am going to move forward, cautiously, like kind of in it. I'm going to edge forward until we get to the point where if something is revealed, I'll stop. But I'm just extending the light out as the priest is moving to the edge of the light. So once they are kind of moving out,
so there is like a main channel. Then there are these walls that stick out from the main wall, and there are several of these, almost as if you are in a library of bones. The problem is it's cutting off line of sight, and your light is sort of blocked by these walls. There are sort of holes through that are casting some shafts of light. The smell is much stronger down here, but you don't see anything as you edge closer to Panatea.
Okay. I am going to try and cast Cleansing Weapon on my quarterstaff.
Okay, very nice.
So let's see how that goes. Yes, I think I would probably get, if nothing is revealed, I would get the length of my movement just to try and gauge and see what's going on. But kind of as I'm going, we'll see if this works. So I need to be at 12. Or get or beat 12.
Very nice.
So, cool.
It seems that Panatia has brought out the true cleric in you as you are casting spells left, right, and centre.
Never underestimate the fear of embarrassment.
So, tell us, how does this look? And more importantly, mechanically, what happens?
So I, as I sort of move forward, I'm just kind of looking left to right, trying to kind of watch everywhere at once. And I just, I kind of step forward a few feet and then pause and just kind of close my eyes for a minute, grab holy symbol and just knock my staff on the ground. And as I knock it on the ground, there's a sort of a spark of slightly ethereal flames that then wreathe all the way up the quarterstaff, and it looks like it's burning with these kind of ghostly flames as I'm walking along. So what that does for me is any weapon I touch is wreathed in purifying flames, which deals an additional 1d4 damage for the duration, unless it's against undead, in which case it's 1d6.
Perfect.
So it potentially means I can hit harder if we have to hit things.
Very nice. And then, out of nowhere, they strike on initiative 12. Poor Panatia, as these from rapidly you hear scraping, you hear a hideous and you see this thing partially emerge, bones sticking through paper thin flesh, lung blackened talons as they grab and descend down upon Panacea. The first one attempts to strike, just +2 to this. Oops. I got very excited there. I will re-roll that again. She fends it off and misses. It misses as she slashes at it. The second one also tries to strike. This one misses as well. It seems that she does not wish to be embarrassed in front of you, Drago. The two ghouls retreat somewhat down one of the aisles. And with that, we move to Jasmine.
Jasmine sprints forward to where the ghouls are, and on the way there shouts, "Don't mess with the bleeping red masks," and proceeds to at least try and stick her long swords in one of them. So shield up, long sword, about to strike.
Perfect. And transparency, this is a standard ghoul. They have an armor class of 11. Come on, Jasmine, you should be okay with this.
Yep.
Perfect. So you strike it. Give me some damage, please.
6.
Okay, it is not enough to kill it, but as you turn the corner, it is partially in light and partially not, retreated from the light of Drago, and you kind of see this grey skin slavering undead with a whipping tongue that extends out far beyond its jaw, and almost a flat reptilian face as it screeches at you. I believe that is your go, Jasmine.
Yep, it is.
And we move back to Aaron. From your perch above, you can't really see anything.
I've got to push down there so I can see. I think. As I do so, I'll make a quick mental note to myself. Yeah, don't probably get that consent thing sorted out with Jasmine. As I say, wade in, and I start fiddling about with the two tracing something, and I'm going to try and cast sleep.
Okay.
See. Now
this is interesting.
I don't know if that works on ghouls because I don't know how ghouls work in Shadowdark.
Yeah, that
Are they
is.
living things that eat dead things, as they are in other things?
They are. Does the spell tell you? Because if the spell tells you its capabilities, then you would.
You weave a lulling spell that fills a near-sized cube extending from you.
Mhm.
Creatures in the area of effect fall into a deep sleep if they are level 2 or less.
Mhm.
Vigorous shaking or being injured wakes them.
This is interesting. So I'll try and cast it, I suppose.
I told you I don't have a lot of experience of
No, this is good.
being magic user, so let's see what happens.
You cast the spell.
And it works. I've got a 19.
Well, in the stat block, and I said for all transparency, we are using the straight ghouls, and they say undead, immune to morale checks.
To morale checks?
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to go snoozy.
So, and this affects an area of how large?
It's near.
Near.
So a cube, a near cube.
A near cube is
extending
30 feet.
Yeah, it's 30 feet. So it fills up quite a large area.
Presumably, if Panatea is level 2 or less, she's also off to the land of bee-buys.
Well,
might not be a plan.
They withdrew from Panatea. Jasmine is also caught in it, but Jasmine is level 3. So Jasmine, you yawn, but the two ghouls, and please chat, please tell me that my great undead cannot be put to sleep. I know you're not there, but please put the comments down in here. If the spell doesn't
exclude them,
doesn't exclude them, if the stat block doesn't exclude them, I'm going to let them fall asleep.
If they're Lovecraftian type ghouls, they're definitely alive, aren't they? And I would say that they can fall asleep.
And I'm not arguing at all. I have crafted these ghouls and ghasts as kind of Lovecraftian versions as well. So I'm more than happy for them to be put into slumber, as you will uncover in a little while. So yeah, you reach out, not entirely sure whether the magics will work, but it does, and they indeed do collapse unconscious.
Ha! Ha! It worked.
Okay. For how long is that? Does it require any focus?
Duration instant. No, they fall. They're in a deep sleep.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say how long. Vigorous shaking or being injured wakes them. So it's like they're just in a normal sleep.
Yeah. I don't find this surprising. It can be. Sleep in classic D&D was very powerful. So you have put them to sleep. So for that, we're going to take you out of initiatives. No, we're not, because I'm sure Jasmine is going to start vigorously hacking them apart. So it seems redundant. Let us move. The priestess Panatea sort of looks and, wow, you are formidable indeed. These things should not be down here. In truth,
let's bleeping finish them, bleeping off one by bleeping one.
What do you
and
know?
Jasmine points her sword at the one that's already been hurt, and so start with that one.
Okay. So
I quickly turn to no names. Oh, sorry, I'm terrible with names.
That's
and
okay.
I've lost my. As I was thumbing. I've seized again, so I do what I like now.
But you will come back on, so don't get caught.
I briefly turn to Drago and just say, "Do you think they might know something?"
I don't know how much experience I would have of ghouls.
We can
I've
find
only
out by making a roll, religion,
yeah,
or
by all means.
there is a religion, wisdom or
I
intelligence.
would say, yeah, wisdom, because that's my priestly characteristic. So I will see if I know anything about ghouls, and if not, Hanatia has at least smelled them before, so she will be a good person to ask. If I don't know anything, might know something with an 18, who knows?
So you are aware these would classify as undead. They're not quite like Lovecraftian ghouls in terms of Lovecraftian ghouls, but they have moderate intelligence. There are ghasts, which tend to be the ones that have this rather potent stench about them rather than the ghouls. And they are much more intelligent. And with the role that you got, indeed, there are rumours that there can be colonies, communities of ghouls that work together. Some fairly feral, others of medium to high intelligence, and they tend to lurk larger colonies in places of death, like a boneyard.
I would relay most of that. And so it might be worth having a conversation before we try and kill them all, which is a shame because this only lasts 5 more rounds. But never mind. Can I see the space that we're in? Can I see like the far end? Can I see a conveniently placed burrow that's leading into a wall going away or anything like that?
Yeah, I
An
mean,
entrance.
so we're kind of in initiative. It is your go, Drago. You can move forward and sort of look around, and yes, you can see a burrow. It sort of digs down, and the smell that you get, this isn't an extensive burrow. This actually breaks out into the sewer systems. So they've dug from the sewer system up into here.
And is there sign of stuff having been disturbed and
Oh yeah,
taken, or is that
you look around and you can see that they've been cherry picking bones from here.
yeah? So I would kind of say, I think conversation might prove fruitful, and I suggest if one of them is more powerful than the others and more coherent than the others, we start with that. There's 2 of them. Do we get a sense if we've got this smell? I don't want. I'm trying not to metagame. Would there be a sense that one of them is more ghast than ghoul?
No, both of these are not stinking. They don't have the stench, but it's quite obvious that a ghast has been here at some point as well. But the area has just a soupçon of a stench about it.
Yes.
So probably no longer here.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I would think.
Okay.
Yes. Conversation.
The 2 ghasts don't do anything. And then we move to Jasmine on 10.
We're quite clear in that we want to talk first.
Yeah, to one of them, and then she tries and hack off the head of the ghoul that she already hit.
Okay, so you can attack. You have advantage on this attack with it being asleep. This will count as vigorously shaking it, though.
She had advantage for the protection from evil as well, I think.
Not sure, but I know that anyone attacking me has disadvantage.
Yeah, sorry, apologies. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is disadvantage for the baddies.
13.
A 13 will hit. Roll your damage. I've done 6 already. Oh, very
Another
nice.
9.
That is easy enough as you sever the head of this loathsome creature off its body.
I pick up the head, hold my sword at the neck of the one that's still asleep, and vigorously kick him in the ribs
Wow, you're
while I'm holding its dead body's head in front of its face.
Next
Okay.
action.
Yeah, it's if you're gonna use your action to vigorously thing, you can only do so much in Shadowdark.
I know. That's basically the idea that I was going with. Like,
I know, I like it.
I think that works. I think we can wait to see that happen.
You always pushing the boundaries, and I love it.
But if you're going to say that, if you're going to do that, I was just going to say you could join the sisters now.
I was talking about giving them a bleeping present.
So we move to Aaron on 20. Are you going
Well,
to...
I say that, and I'm kind of moving around to be with near this ghoul on the floor, the one that's asleep, snoring away, contented.
Yeah. And then we move to Drago.
Restful sleep.
It seems that Panatia is this is blasphemous. They have broken in here. They have taken our interned.
At which I would say, think that's what we've been sent to find out. We'll see if we can find out where. And I don't know, do I check them, or are we waiting for the kick of the ribs? I feel like we're waiting for the kick in the ribs.
Okay.
I would position my flaming quarterstaff sort of in a similar position where it's threatening enough, because I figure they might, being undead, it might get a bad vibe from these ethereal flames.
Yeah.
And if at all possible, I'd like to kind of hold. We just want to talk for the point at which they're awake after they've been kicked, if that's allowed.
This is interesting. I spoilt one of their abilities a little earlier. But Jasmine, you kick in the ribs as your action. It counts as vigorously wake, and then this thing and just sort of hisses, growls at you, this tongue sort of coming out, and the tongue seems to almost have a life of its own as it sort of moves.
So it can start licking its body's face, because the skull is the closest thing to this ghoul's face.
Okay.
The head I chopped off, his body's head will encounter the tongue, so to speak.
It is looking around, but this thing is, well, immune to morale checks. It cares not about its friends, its numbers, or anything else. Drago, you kind of shout, "We want to talk." Wow, this is a difficult one. So we're going to move to Aaron. It's not its turn yet. This thing, you're not sure. It could be looking to take a swipe or a bite from someone around it.
It's got a sword at its neck.
Yeah, absolutely.
And its erstwhile colleague directly in its face. I'm going to hope it's feeling fairly intimidated. And I might cast another spell, because I've never cast them.
Look at you casting the spells left, right, and centre.
No, I'm just whizzing them off.
Go for it.
And so I kind of try and approach it and get. Hang on, I better read what I've got. What I'm going to try and do. If I have to touch it or anything like that, I don't know. But I'm going to try a level 2 spell, a tier 2 spell.
Yeah, and I kind of have to say, mechanically, I love the name tier 2.
I do. I'm really glad they didn't call them level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. You detect thoughts.
Right, okay.
You peer into the mind of one creature you can see within the spell's range, which is near.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Each round, you learn the target's immediate thoughts. On its turn, the target makes a wisdom check versus your last spellcasting check.
Mhm.
If the target succeeds, it notices your presence in its mind and the spell ends.
Very nice.
So this could go wrong. I'm hoping that ghouls are not wise.
Mm.
I thought about laying into the priestess earlier on with this one, but I kind of figured that was, you know, if you were going to pick on someone that don't know.
I mean, you know, you never know. This is Shadowdark
So,
stats are interesting.
True. Yeah, they are, aren't they? That's nothing's. Come on.
Oh,
I kind of done
13,
it.
that's enough. It's higher than 12.
it is indeed. That's
Is
succeed.
is it 12 to succeed or 12 to beat?
If you roll it's basically 10 plus the spell's tier, and you need to equal that or beat it.
Equal
Yeah.
or better, right? Okay. So I done it by 1.
So
the wisdom DC is now 13.
Yeah, that is right. And it, you get, there's a degree of cinematics here as you bind your mind with its, and
again, I'm touching tattoos on my body and activating them.
Yeah.
Now there's a bit of light and people can see what's going on. They kind of the tattoos seem to move. And writhe.
Wow, that's interesting. You will see scary tattoos moving and writhing on his body.
So some of them look quite blasphemous and unpleasant. A priest might recognize some of them, but they're not right. So they are. I've got too many bits of paper lying around. It's all right. Assume the vial. There's some, but it's like those tattoos have been doctored, altered, changed with other more arcane symbols, almost like they've been bound.
So you touch minds with this creature, this foul entity, and you can see there's a number of thoughts all flashing together. There is hunger, probably the first, and it makes you feel ravenous as well. You kind of almost feel the acids in your stomach sort of burning through your stomach lining.
Aaron recoils slightly from this.
It's thoughts, but you feel its thoughts, and it's not actually happening, but it is a disgusting, painful thing to have that all of the time. Secondly, there is a sense of survival on its mind, and this is kind of strange. There's no sense of fight or flight in it. It is just purely fight. It is ravage, rip apart, and that is the only way to survive. But there is also a modicum of hatred, hatred. But the hatred isn't against you. You see it against something else that flashes in his mind, and this is a more powerful ghoul, something that you recognize as a ghast, a greater ghoul really, who does retain their intelligence, all they knew in life, and you sense the last words of stay, guard, die. Instructions, orders from this ghast. And that is what you pick up.
Guard, die.
Yeah, well, stay.
Stay. Sorry,
guard,
I misheard you. Sorry.
Die.
Right.
Almost as if these are expendable. So with that,
Do I get a chance to react to that in any?
yeah,
so-
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you've cast your spell as an action, but if you want to talk or let people
This-
know,
I say they're guards. They're guarding the way into the sewers.
okay. With that, Aaron, move to Drago.
I am going to. I don't think just asking it a question is going to work, so I'm going to try tasering it at the same time. I'm going to ask it or say to it, which way, and then jab it with my quarterstaff.
Okay, so make an attack. You two can have advantage at the moment. Whilst it doesn't seem to be scared of being outnumbered, swords to its throat and anything else, it is in what I would consider to be a dire situation. So, yeah, roll with advantage.
Oh yeah, I got an extra talent, so I now get to do a +2 to my attacks, which puts me at a +1 with advantage.
Please.
So 14 is the high one.
14 hits.
Okay, so that is.
You rotter. Beating up a poor defenseless little ghoul.
I'm not sure it's that defenseless. Okay, so that's 1d4, then it's got 1d6, which is the additional damage because of my cleansing weapon.
Perfect.
So +1 to damage as well, so that's a total of 5.
Okay. So you strike it, not enough to kill it, but it certainly hurts it, and a couple of things happen. The shock of being hit by your weapon causes it to mutter something, but at the same time, instinct sort of comes out and it's on its turn. It is going to strike at you as well. So it's almost simultaneously you hear this almost guttural word come out of its mouth. Boneyard. And with that, it attempts to strike at you. I'm not going
I
to give it.
suppose it was strategically visualizing the route
Yeah,
as it was.
not really. You don't think this has a huge amount of intelligence.
No. Try.
Oh, that is a natural one. It's too much. It easily misses you. You're kind of standing over it. With your read thoughts, Aaron, you think there is little more you're going to get from this. Aghast, absolutely, but this creature.
It's just a feral gangrel creature,
Yeah,
isn't it? Just
absolutely.
dreadful. Yeah. It's animalistic in its thoughts.
Yeah. So we then move to Jasmine.
Do we have enough?
I think so. I don't think we'll get more.
I think we've got everything we're going to get from it.
Then this bleeping piece of bleep can bleeping die, and then she attacks with the longsword again.
Perfect. You have advantage. Oh.
Description, please.
Yes.
Shove the other head in its mouth and then cut its head off.
Not just a 6, though.
A 6, I'm going to say that is. Oh, it is enough. I'm not going to say it is just enough. A 5 plus 6 is an 11. It has 11 hit points. Anybody looking at the ghoul stat will clarify that that is correct. So it's still a critical hit though. So and it is going to be the last roll of the night. So big it up, Jasmine. How do you finish this creature off?
She keeps hold of the other ghoul's head, basically twirls her longsword around in her right hand, and then big overhand smash down right on its neck and separates another head, and then ties both of them to her belt with their hair. I assume they have hair.
Yeah, I mean they do now, even if they didn't before, because that sounds cool. And because they're undead, there's not like blood leaking out of the heads either.
No, so I imagine this is like now on her left hip, like more to the back on the side of the hip. There's now these two ghouls' heads dangling with their long tongues out nearly to the floor.
Mhm.
Delightful.
And I will be generous and say that is cinematically awesome, so it's not going to cost you any gear slots.
Thank you very much.
So, before we bring tonight's session to a close, you have defeated two ghouls, and there is signs of a burrow digging down into the sewers, the terrible stench of the sewers, fairly obvious. You have read its thoughts and realised these hail from the Boneyard. You discover the crypt of Saint
Loric.
here, but it has been ripped open, the bones gone. Only one question remains: is how did the sisters know that the bones were in the Boneyard? And that is where we will leave it tonight and draw the veil down. Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. Very interesting. We managed to do some random rolls on a table tonight. You made allies before you even met the sisters and enemies. You created.
Yeah, that was
Sorry, Matt.
nice chance. No, that was a fortuitous roll with the table to get an enemy, but also an ally potentially as well.
And the dice help tell a story. If you check back, look at our supplement, which has the title of what, Matt?
Crafting a hive of scum and villainy. A Thieves' Quarter creation kit. So the idea is it's a supplement which gives you a whole bunch of random tables to create a vibrant and unpleasant place like the Wet Warrens, filled with a whole bunch of dastardly ne'er-do-wells and individuals and gangs and all sorts of stuff.
And it created that scene that was very appropriate. But as I said, I let the dice tell a story. Those roles were truly genuine. And then from the Shadowdark cool rulebook, we created the NPC, the Saint Loric himself, which was fun. Giving agency to the players. Like I said at the start, I was always kind of, why random tables? Why? I mean, I need to, as a GM, craft everything, have all of the detail written down, ready for the session. And it's completely, Shadowdark itself has completely changed my sort of mindset on that. I would be interested to know, as players, would you have preferred to roll on those tables and see it play out constructed, or would you have preferred me to have made an NPC up? How did it feel to you? Did it feel it broke your immersion, or did you feel it was quite cool to be part of the creative process?
From
Genuinely.
my perspective,
Mhm.
I think there was an element of breaking the immersion a little bit, but in a way that, because it was it became part of the world building and part of the storytelling and kind of building the world that we're in. Creating that kind of agency to an extent, because it's whatever happens is our as players intent as well. I think so. I think there's an element of breaking the immersion a little bit, but in a positive way, because it's then, it's very much that collaborative. We are all around this table, virtual
Yeah,
table, telling this story together, and so I think that's quite fun and nice as both a player and as a GM.
Perfect. Natasha.
It's-
So we'll come to
Sorry.
you in a minute, Dave. But Natasha.
No, sorry, mate.
Yeah, I quite liked it as well, because if you had made a character, then we would have had to ask it all sort of questions, and you might never get all of the answers or get the right questions in. And this, we take the wall down, we create the character, we put the wall back up. It just means that everyone, all the players, are on the same page. They know this character they're after, and it made the immersion after so much quicker to attain again.
Excellent. And Dave.
I love the chaoticness of it. You don't know what's coming. We don't, and the fact that you can throw it, you throw it out to the players and say, come on, make that into a, give me a quick paragraph kind of thing of a quick story, and it just is. I find it enormous fun that you're just winging it on the fly. It's the four of us who are playing it.
Yeah.
Not 3 against 1 or 1 against 3. It's the four of us trying to make a story out of
absolutely
things. And there's I've seen some of the tables, and they're just so, in some cases, unhinged that it's just genuinely, and certainly some. I've read the Escape from the Cage. I bought that. And that really tickled me. I found it ever so entertaining, really.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Pleased that you enjoyed that as
Great
well.
fun.
But feedback, let us know if you have got to the end of the video. And put some comments down there. Do you like tables? Do you not like tables? Etc. Etc. Really genuinely interested in your thoughts. So I like to do this as well. Any standout moments, favourite moments in the game? We'll start off with Dave this time.
I've never played a straight magic user wizard in any system ever. So it was really fun to again, the randomness of making a character up.
Yeah.
In this system in Shadowdark is, you roll the stats and say, right, okay, what is it? Oh well, and I go high intelligence. I'm a wizard.
Yeah, perfect.
Right, that's it. And I kind of went, no.
What I also found interesting was, it was a comment actually from Matt, but it was about spellcasting, which is you basically said, I've only got 5 more rounds on this, which you're perfectly right. But if we were playing something that had spell slots, you're right, you would have casted it, and it's like, I'm not going to get you to use this now. It's gone. I've lost that resource. Here, where you roll, you've only got 5 more rounds, but you can cast the spell again, hopefully.
Exactly.
But what's nice about, like, the flip side to that, and I think that's what's nice about it, is that certainly from my experience and my success as a spellcaster, I think part of the prompt on that was it worked this time.
Yes.
So I've only got 5 rounds to make use of it, because I might try it again and it might not work. And so I think that's what's really nice about it, is that you have that kind of that sense of, I can do it as many times as long as I don't screw it up. Because if I get it wrong, then I can't do it again.
Absolutely.
You're pushing it every time, so there's that trepidation.
You had great rolls tonight. I don't think any of you used the luck point either.
Nope.
Which is good. Matt, any standout moments? Any favourite bits?
I cast spells and they worked.
Wow, yeah. I mean, in front of another priest, you proved that you were actually a priest.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the reason for casting the weapon thing on myself, on my own weapon, was so if it didn't work, I could just like,
Perfect.
No, selfishly, I think that was the most exciting thing, was casting working for me for once.
I loved it. And last but not least, Natasha.
Yeah, I was going to say Matt finally being a priest and just getting his spells to work for the first time in 8 sessions.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's nice when it does work. Perfect. I mean, thank you very much. I very much enjoyed it. There's a few NPCs that I really enjoyed, especially the head of the sisters. Hopefully, you were found a little intimidating. It was
Jasmine will love to play with her next session.
Excellent.
I did contemplate trying to read her thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, frankly, I was too scared.
Excellent stuff. Okay, well, thank you, cast, for playing. It is always a pleasure. Hopefully, Dave, you can join us in 2 weeks' time.
I think so. Yeah, hope so.
Perfectly. Welcome to the group. We hope that Malcolm has a speedy recovery, as always. And as I say, if you are still watching and you have had fun watching whatever madness we got up to tonight, please give us a like and subscribe. And with my catchphrase, Natasha, do you want to take it away?
Keep those bleeping torches lit.
Fantastic. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much, and we will see you all in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Easy, folks.
Now.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.